All right. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for coming, and thank you, Trevor. I am really excited to get to talk to you about C.A.S.E today because I love C.A.S.E and all of the amazing resources that SSA provides us for event planning, brainstorming what to do with your SSA group. The possibilities are endless. So I'm hoping with today's presentation, my goal is to throw a lot of ideas at you, get you thinking about what you might want to do with your SSA groups back on campus, and then I'll take some questions, and if you want to chat after about different ideas or what you can do when you head back to campus, then that would be great. Can everyone hear me okay? Okay, great. I see some nods. So first we'll talk about what C.A.S.E is to begin with. All right, it's the best acronym in the world, in my humble opinion. Community, advocacy, service, education. These are 4 different components that the goal is to include in all of the various activities you're doing with your SSA group. And they also just serve as inspiration for different activities you can do with your SSA group. Community, a really important part of an SSA group, maybe the most important part in my opinion. I like to think there's a reason it's at the beginning of the acronym and not just that this might be the only word you can spell out with those letters. I'm not actually sure, I haven't tried yet. But this is about providing a safe space, a brave space, a place for atheists, non-theists, free thinkers, humanists to come together, make friends, feel comfortable, and I'll go into more detail about all of these as well. Advocacy, this is about taking action. The A could also stand for action, I think. And participating in rallies, demonstrations, addressing social justice issues on campus, off campus. Service, this is about making the world a better place. We've sort of all come to the conclusion that this is the only life we get, and with our humanist outlook, we can use that as a springboard for making the world a better place in whatever big or small ways that we can. And education, this could be within your SSA group or educating the public at large, doing larger events about a variety of different ideas. So I think I gave this presentation last year, a different version of it, and a lot of the ideas are similar, but we are living in a very different world in July 2017 than we were in July 2016, especially here in the US post-election. So I think each component of C.A.S.E has taken on a new meaning, even a greater importance, just as SSA groups have taken on a greater importance now, like any communities. After the election. So each component of this kind of relates to different work we can be doing to help address the issues and challenges that a lot of people are facing in the Trump era, so they say. Alrighty. So why is C.A.S.E important? I think first of all, it's important because it helps give us a gazillion ideas for awesome things to do with our SSA groups. But the second part is that it helps provide variety for SSA groups. There are some people who will be so excited to come to a discussion meeting to discuss how they grew up, like what religion they were in. Maybe they were in a completely secular family and that was just a preview. And they are really excited to share their experiences with the group. But there are other people who will really shy away from those meetings and might not want to participate in a group discussion at all, and it just makes them completely uncomfortable. So we want to be able to provide a lot of different group activities so that everyone can be happy at any given meeting. Or maybe one meeting, a few people don't come because they really don't want to talk about their own experiences that week or for whatever reason. But then the next week you're doing something completely different. So different strokes for different folks, much like my favorite variety pack of cereal. There's something for everyone, and that's what we want to provide using C.A.S.E. Alrighty, community, my favorite one, if we're going to pick favorites. So this, I think, is the most important component of C.A.S.E. That's, now that I say that, I'm like, wait, but advocacy, and one of the most important ones given our post-election world right now. Having a community of people where students feel comfortable reflecting on their experiences, having a support group where you can talk about things going on campus, where you can cry with your friends when something's going on and you really need their support. That's why we need communities like this. I like to think of SSA groups like youth groups without Jesus or without religion in any way. And I sort of came to describing it that way when I'm trying to tell someone who knows nothing about SSA. And sometimes people are like, what the heck is that? And sometimes people are like, oh, right, cool. I like that. I went to the Christian youth group because they have free pizza and great friends and just people who will welcome you in. But could have done without the dogma and doctrine they were talking about. There are a lot of responses like that. Even in secular Claremont, where I was at school, I felt like I really could use a space where I could talk about my atheism and say I'm an atheist and not feel like I might be insulting someone, even though that's obviously not the intention at all. Even in a really secular area, sometimes it can be hard to express that identity. So having a space where you can do that and not have people feel that you're attacking their religion or saying there is no God and no one should believe in God or gods, then that can be really helpful. So let's see. I'm giving you all some homework. You have to go home and watch this 19-minute video of Bart Campolo. He's a humanist chaplain at USC. Yeah, we got a fan back there. And he gave this talk a few years ago at my first SSA Con. And he used to be a pastor, an evangelical pastor, so if you've never heard a sermon, his cadence, his way of speaking might be a little weird and might freak you out a little bit, but he's a humanist now. And it just sounds like he's preaching. And he talks about why community is so important and gives some examples from his own life. And this is probably one of the most inspirational speakers that I've ever heard around community. So definitely watch that. I rewatch it every now and then, like this morning, just because it gives you so many great ideas. Let's see. So after you watch that, you can brainstorm some other things that you want to do with your SSA group. For example, go for a hike. Do one of the many fun activities you might want to do with your friends with your SSA group. This was actually, I really wanted to hike this Claremont 5-mile loop right near campus, and I posted on our SSA Facebook group, made a little Facebook event. It was like, hey, who wants to come with me Sunday afternoon? And sign up on this Google form and you'll have a spot in the car. And that way you can hang out with people, become friends without necessarily talking about, atheism and humanism. You're just talking about how much your quads are burning and what a beautiful day it is. And it's a really great way to build that community, to have all sorts of activities you're doing. Have a game night. We had a really successful game night one semester where I actually don't think we ended up opening any of the games because people were just hanging out and eating snacks and talking, and we got distracted, and then an hour had passed and we were like, okay, cool. We'll do this next time. But it's a great way to engage people who maybe want to make friends, want to check out the group, but don't necessarily want a intense discussion that week, or they want something, to have an activity that you're doing as a group as opposed to just sitting around and talking can be really helpful for some people. And it's just fun. We were lucky enough to have this amazing resource through Pomona College, part of the Claremont Colleges Consortium. They have a cabin kind of house in the woods kind of near campus when student groups can go for a retreat. So if you have anywhere you can go near off campus to spend a night somewhere, that is the most amazing way to bond with your group. Something about sleepovers, they're just so fun. And staying up late, watching the sunset. Like, it's all really great for getting to know each other and creating that community bond. Let's see how I'm doing on time here. Okay, pretty good. Cool. This is not what our dinners looked like, but it is just an example of something you can do with your SSA group. We started having weekly dinners just at a dining hall, so it really didn't look like that. But although the dining hall food was great, and put a little SSA sign on the table, like a folded piece of paper, just so everyone could find us, made a Facebook event, and that way people who maybe can't come to the meetings or just want to like get to know the group. I'm just gonna grab my water here, excuse me. Can come and hang out and eat dinner, and like, you're going to a meal anyway, so even if you have a ton of homework later, you can come and make friends and chat with people. All right, and if that becomes a weekly thing, then it's a lot less effort to organize. It's not like a new event you're working on. All right, advocacy. This is also really crucial post-election. There's so many things that I know we are all angry about and feeling very passionate about, and this is our chance to do something about it in whatever way we can. So if there's something that's making you angry, this is when we can take action. And this includes going to rallies, something like going to the Women's March or a climate march. All of those are things you can do with your SSA group and just organize so that you can make it easy for students to go and use your group as the platform for that. And there are a lot of secularism related issues you can address, such as separation of church and state, sex education or lack thereof in public schools, other issues related to secularism specifically, but then there are a lot that don't have to be about secularism. Reproductive justice issues are, there are a lot of awesome progressive religious groups that work on those issues as well, and which leads me to the next point, which is that this is a great way to collaborate with other groups. There are a lot of issue-based clubs on campus that you can work with and use their expertise, use the events that they're organizing, jump on board, and get to meet new people in the meantime, get new club members. We had an environmental justice discussion one week, just like, what even is that to begin with, and what can we do on campus to help, or what's the bigger situation in the country around this. And we got to have the environmental justice group join us, so we got to meet a lot of new people and get new ideas for what we can be doing in our group. Alrighty. So there, as an SSA group, without endorsing any specific political candidate or party, you can get involved with a lot of political activism. So there are a lot of issue-based campaigns, since if you're an official chapter, an affiliate of SSA, where we can't endorse a particular candidate, but there are a lot of ideals that we all share. So you can organize a voter registration drive. After organizing on Hillary's campaign, I can tell you that if there is a more issue-based campaign going on, or unrelated to your SSA official activities, something that you just want to do with your friends who are in SSA that relates to a political campaign, you will make some organizer so happy if you go and knock doors for them for a weekend or just one shift. Power in numbers. So see what ways you can get involved in the local community. There's a great resource I want to mention. I don't have it on a slide. It's called The Rituals of Democracy, and it's by Alessandra Biaggi. I can give that to you after as well, but she created this. She was a former Clinton campaign staffer, and she compiled a list of resources all about resisting and fighting the political changes that are affecting a lot of people in our communities. So how to educate yourself, how to take action, and that can be a really great point for brainstorming what to do as an SSA group. Was anyone able to attend the workshop this morning with Foundation Beyond Belief? It was a political advocacy hour, I think early this morning. Awesome, yeah. The kinds of things that they were doing there, letter writing to lawmakers, making calls to your local representatives, those are all things you can do as your SSA group. Find an issue that you want to address, like healthcare and access to healthcare. Figure out which lawmakers you should be contacting or who your local reps are, and give them a call. I can tell you that after interning at Senator Gillibrand's office, we really do take that constituent feedback into account. So the senator gets a report every week with all the constituent calls and how many people have called on different issues and what they're calling about, like vote for this, don't vote for this, so that she can represent everyone. So I don't know how that works in all senators' offices, but it really does make a difference. So if you can do that with your SSA group, awesome. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I think we already had a few slides with a little present image on it. That's because SSA gives us all of these amazing gifts in the form of online resources. So I stuck those in there just to remind you how that is there for you. It's free, it's online on secularstudents.org website. So whenever you see that pop up, that's just a reminder that you can go find that resource yourself and use it for your event planning. Alrighty. This is an example of exactly that. The importance of secular students engaging in political activism. This is on the SSA website, and it gives you some ideas and reasons why this is such a great activity to be doing with your SSA group. And there are more specifics about how you can do this. Ask an Atheist Day is one of the events that SSA provides an activity packet for, and shows you how you can. Has anyone done an Ask an Atheist Day before? Yeah, yay. Honestly, I think it's kind of like advocacy, but also education, because you're getting the conversation going in your community, the larger community, about atheism. So it addresses a lot of different things, but the SSA website has these resources that you can download or just read on their website and use for all your event planning. So this is another reminder about how important and helpful it can be to collaborate with other groups. We know that all oppression is connected, and the intersectionality of all of these issues means that not only is it helpful to collaborate with other groups, but it's often necessary. We can't be experts in everything. And it's really great to get other people involved in these ideas and issues as well. So whatever you're addressing in your group, think about what other groups on campus or off campus they might relate to, and shoot them an email or Facebook message and collaborate with them for an event. It also means more resources potentially if you need to pay for supplies for the event, and more people and more advertising, so you can bring more people in. All right, let's see. Service. Okay, let me make sure I'm gonna cover everything. Yes. So this stems from our secular worldview, and it does a few things. It makes the world a better place when you engage in service-related activities. You're helping people. It helps fight the stigma around atheism and that we're baby eaters. And because if you're, organizing a food drive, then you're showing people that we actually do care about others and have morals in some sense, at least. So it accomplishes that as well. And it provides really fun activities for you to do as a group. So win-win-win, in my opinion. So some examples of this are a multi-faith service day. This is an event organized by the chaplains at the Claremont colleges, so the religious groups. They have a few of these every year, and this is something that we could get on board with and say, awesome, yeah, we want to participate. We'll advertise in our group and have people sign up, so you don't even have to organize it yourself necessarily. There are other groups doing community service work that you can join in with. And there are service activity packets online on the SSA website that you can use, including community service around campus work that you can do, and education, the last component of C.A.S.E. we addressed a few different ideas in my group around education, but I think now, given our current political climate, education is such an important part of interacting with others, and a lot of the hate crimes, hate speech, and harmful rhetoric going around, I think stems from a lack of understanding often, and addressing these issues and having conversations about, for example, what it's like to be an immigrant student or come from an immigrant family on campus, and what it's like to be a trans person on campus as a college student. Those are all things that we can educate ourselves about. If the idea is to be a better human by being a humanist and improving ourselves in the world in whatever ways we can, having those conversations can help educate ourselves, and we can educate each other. And this is also a great opportunity to collaborate with other groups, because there are, for example, reproductive justice groups on campus or a feminist group that could come in and do a discussion or even a mini presentation about any issue. Let's see, I have a few more examples here. Ssa Resources, once again, sensing a theme that I love the SSA website. This was a faculty panel, again, organized by the chaplains in Claremont. And that gets some really great conversations going and educates each other and the greater community about different perspectives. So that's an awesome kind of event that you can organize or jump in with other groups on. Dan Barker came to campus to talk about his, he's with the Freedom from Religion Foundation, and this was his leaving religion and sort of the philosophy behind that, and we used that as an education component. Phil Zuckerman is the secular studies dude professor at Pitzer College in the Claremont Colleges Consortium, and we did a little book launch. He had just really came out with a new book, Living the Secular Life, I believe it was that one. So he talked about the research that went into that and personal stories that related to that, and it helps get the conversation going by bringing in these various experts. Always, always, always try and have food at your meetings. This is so helpful for community building on the one hand, and just for having fun and getting more people to come, free food. And you'd be surprised at how much free food you can get for your group by reaching out to local businesses, local, like if there's a bakery in town, because it's advertising for them too, if they're, if you're serving their food at an event. So I would encourage you all to call local businesses and see if they'd be willing to donate food for a student event on campus, because that's how we got a lot, like this pizza we didn't pay for, but we got to encourage local businesses as well. Alrighty, yeah, food. All right, so in conclusion, these are the 4 components of C.A.S.E and why they make us so happy. And as far as implementing these and getting to address each one of them, one strategy is doing one event each month, like every week, with a different focus. So often they'll relate to each other, but one week maybe you do a service activity, the next week an education-related discussion, and so on and so forth, to help mix things up and keep everybody interested. I want to emphasize again using the Ssa Resources. There's no need to reinvent the wheel on this. There are people who've done these activities before, and it's always great to come up with new ones, but for a starting point, use the ideas that people have already found to be successful and then go from there, because it's really helpful, especially for getting a new group going or a new year. All right. So, I'd encourage you to try and include all 4 components of this in your SSA work when possible. And often they'll relate to each other and make for a much more exciting year of SSA events. So thank you very much, and feel free to get in touch with me. I'm around if you want to chat after this, but you can also email me, Facebook me, LinkedIn me, and I'd love to chat. So yeah, thank you so much.